ACCA presenting Be a Strategic Business Leader with ACCA. My name is Alexander Leach and I work in the education team for ACCA in the Middle East. We've got a fun-packed, I say fun-packed, I hope you find it fun, a fun-packed session today. I'll be talking about one of my favourite things, which isn't me, which is the Strategic Business Leader section and the Strategic Professional section of the ACCA Qualification, along with some examples of professional insights, an array of resources that you as students and members can also find really useful, and hopefully have plenty of questions and interaction like we did last week as well. So just a little bit of housekeeping. If you have any problems while we're on this session, just refresh your browser, refresh your application, and it should be able to just pop back in there. So just more of a formal introduction. So my name is Alex, as I said. I work in the education team for the ACCA in the Middle East. I'm also an ACCA member myself. I used to work for ACCA Financial, which is a global training partner. So I've taught the qualification for many years, as well as working for PwC whilst I was doing my ACCA. If you wish to connect, just add me on LinkedIn. My details are there at the top. We'll also be providing contact details for the ACCA education team and the wider Middle East team as we go along. So ACCA, we are leaders. ACCA accountants understand teamwork and how to maximize opportunities. We're essential partners in getting businesses to achieve their goals. We're communicators able to imagine and inspire. We are sustainable. We challenge people to think ahead and make ethical choices. We love sustainable solutions to today's problems. The future is ours to protect and nurture. We speak the global language of business. Being fluent can take you anywhere, and it really can. Studying with ACCA to become a finance professional means to future-proof your passion, your skills, and your life. If all the world's a stage, you must be able to speak on it. And ultimately, we are more than numbers. So when I say accountancy, sure, we can think about the numbers, but maybe think about it, the number of lives changed, the number of systems improved, the number of businesses that succeed, and number of environments saved. Accountancy is so much more. And hopefully, as you have joined us today, you'll be aware that we are leaders, the global professional body. We are sustainable. We do speak the global business language or language of business, and we are more than numbers. We are the world's most forward-thinking accountancy body. We believe that accountants are vital for economies to grow and prosper, which is why we work all over the world to build the profession to make society more fairer and more transparent. To give you an understanding, here's some scale. We are we have over 500,000 students, which is considerably a sizable feat. We have over 200,000 members in 179 countries. So we are very much all around the world. As far as our geographical presence from offices, we have 101 offices in 57 countries, and we have over 340 quality tuition providers, which I'll get talking about in a bit. But hopefully you can see from this sort of scale that we are truly global. And I'll give you an example of how this globality works, or this global mobility works. I'm currently actually in the UK for COVID reasons, but also I work in the Middle East. And I was put in touch recently through the virtue of digital sort of interaction with a student who may or may not have joined us, or maybe watching this back, from the Bahamas this weekend, which I thought was fantastic. And this isn't just, you know, a one-off. It happens continuously. As a member of ACCA, I've had the pleasure of traveling the world by virtue of the qualification. I've been able to speak at many events, and so have all the other members and students who've been a part of this sort of global community. And that's something that I just want to stress. It really is a global community, whether it's somebody in the Bahamas, somebody in the Middle East, somebody in Pakistan, India, all over the world. We really are truly connected. And it is fantastic because we are like-minded people who share a degree of sort of professionalism, integrity, and a high standard of ethics. And we can share that with each other wherever we are in the world. As far as the qualification goes, it works on a very incremental basis. So many people, and we'll talk in more detail about the ACCA qualification, but many people can actually access it at an entry-level point, so whether it's the diploma in accounting and business or an advanced diploma in accounting and business. They can work through and do a degree with Oxford Brookes, BSc in applied accounting. And you can do that while you're studying your ACCA Professional Chartered Accountancy qualification. And on top of that, you could also go and do a University of London Masters in Professional Accounting. We are truly an inclusive member body. We want people to access, and we understand that people access education at different stages throughout their career and life. We very much want to be able to promote social mobility. So when you do an ACCA qualification, you pursue an ACCA qualification, it is very much a journey. It's a global passport, and I really like that turn of phrase there, because as you can sort of hear from from my journey, I have been able to travel and do so, but that's, very atypical of many of the ACCA journeys that we see. So the phrase a global passport, it really is, whether you want to travel through work, whether you actually want to regard that as a passport for your career to ultimately help you progress and make you more promotable and employable in the future or even now. So a little bit on the exams, and just bear me while I just grab a little bit of water. So the exams, well, it's an essential part of the professional qualification. And many students who go through a university might have the advantage, or maybe not the advantage, but the privilege of having exemptions. And we'll talk about them in a little bit, but we'll talk about the full qualification as a whole right now. So we have the applied knowledge level, which has 3 exams, computer-based exams, accounting and business, management accounting, and financial accounting. We also have the applied skills level, so they incrementally increase in difficulty, which is from corporate law all the way down to finance management. And within that, we have performance management, taxation, financial reporting, and audit and assurance. But where I'm going to spend a lot of time today is talking about the blue section, the strategic professional section. We have 2 essential exams here. We have the Strategic Business Leader and the Strategic Business Reporting exam. And then we have 4 options. So you pick just 2 of these, ranging from Advanced Financial Management, Advanced Performance Management, Advanced Taxation, or Advanced Audit and Assurance. And what I love about this diagram is obviously it also entwines the other 2 essential elements of becoming an ACCA member. The experience, you require at least 3 years in relevant work experience. So that could be working in accounting and finance, insolvency, banking, as long as, we can attach that back to our learning objectives, which you can find on our ACCA sort of website. And the other essential element is the ethics and professional skills module, which is a fantastic integrated module, which we see a sheer correlation between students who do this module and then their pass rates increasing as well as their success rates as well. So the strategic professional is where we're going to spend some time today. And just again, general housekeeping. Hopefully you've got the gist of the introduction. But if you do have any questions, please just throw them in the chat. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll answer them if we can go along, if they're sort of integrated, or I'll save time at the end, hopefully, to be able to address any questions we have as we go. So we set the new standard of a fully integrated, deep, broad and relevant technical expertise with ethics and professional skills. It's a fantastic qualification section. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty difficult, but it should be, because ultimately we are trying to develop the professionals of the future, and the strategic professional level really does harness areas of strategic thinking, evaluation, teamwork, leadership. Even in some of the exams, you have to show that you can present. Because every element has a real world focus, students will be well prepared to handle the challenges they face in the workplace. When you complete the strategic professional level, you will be learning about the sort of broader business landscapes. They all have, to some degree, a case study and a scenario which are real world based. You'll learn dynamic skills, strategic vision that all great businesses and financial leaders need. Our strategic professional exams are also giving you the opportunity to specialize in an area that best suits your career ambitions, and that's by virtue of the 4 options where you would pick 2. So just again, that's Advanced Financial Management, Advanced Performance Management, Advanced Audit and Assurance, or Advanced Taxation. What opportunities can this lead to? Becoming an ACCA member unlocks the widest number of career opportunities and gives you a mark of distinction that lets you drive your career to a great success. It can lead you to very senior positions such as a finance manager, chief financial officer, or a partner in a professional firm. And that's just a very short list there. We'll talk a little bit later about the ACCA Careers Portal. But again, I know many of the members and students and affiliates throughout the ACCA community who have such varying jobs and such wonderful jobs. Many of them are entrepreneurs. They start their own business. If that's something you're interested in, the ACCA qualification can add a lot of value to you. They also maybe work as a sort of senior managers within firms, or even, within industry. So they work like a finance manager or even a managing director, an operations manager. But they have that global language of business, which is fundamentally a really solid understanding of accounting. So what does it involve? Well, our strategic professional level has 4 exams, and I've already overviewed these. So strategic business leader, strategic business reporting, advanced financial management, advanced performance management, advanced taxation, and advanced audit insurance. And we'll go into more detail as we go along. To become an ACCA member, you will need to complete the ethics and professional skills module. As I say, it's an integrated, interactive online module. It can take around 15 hours to do. And if you are at the later stages of the qualification now, so if, for example, you're coming up to your strategic professional level and you haven't done the ethics and professional skills module, I would highly advocate doing it. It is significantly a value add. It really does help you pass your exams, but also on top of that, it shows to employers or prospective employers and your current employers that you have a high standard of ethics and professionalism. So it adds skills in terms of it develops your skills in terms of leadership. On top of that, we also got commercial acumen, some fundamental skills such as data analysis, and there's a section on there about strategic professional exams as well. And as I say, you will need 3 years of relevant work experience to become an ACCA member. So how long does it take? Which is a general question we get asked on a regular basis. And I think it's important here to understand that it isn't a race. It's certainly not a race. You want to progress through the qualification at a pace that suits your ambitions. So for example, it can take around 3 years, and many do that because of the 3 years experience requirement. So if you are working and studying at the same time. But some students may come into the qualification at a later stage through the exemptions route. So they've only got 4 exams to do at the end of the qualification, so the full strategic professional level, and they can do that as quickly as 12 months. Having said that, I know some students who take many years. And they do that around their career. So maybe they'll take longer than 3 years. Maybe they'll take 5 years. And they might even come and do the qualification at a later stage within their career. So they see that to progress, and I've seen this many times, to progress to get the promotion they need a professional qualification. So they do their ACCA when they're about to become a senior manager or even, a director. So they do that qualification, and it can take them a little while to do it. So it's certainly not a race. But the average time is around 3 years if you were to start at the complete beginning. If you're just going to do the strategic professional, you can do that in around 12 to 18 months. To see if you're eligible, you can go onto our ACCA website. So as I say, some students will have an accredited university degree, which will give them exemptions from the applied knowledge and applied skills level. If you want to check out if you are exempt, you can just go onto our exemptions calculator. So you can go onto our website, just type in ACCA exemptions, and I'll even throw in the links maybe later throughout as we go. So you'll be able to check if you have any exemptions. You just pop your university in, you pop the year of graduation, you select your degree, and it will see if you have any exemptions and if you're eligible. So what will the strategic professional level give you? Well, if you haven't realized already, it will be a great start to your career. The skills needed to make an immediate impact, a broad range of options to specialize your studies, to match your aspirations. And I really like this. It's one of the sort of key differentiators of ACCA because of that flexibility, because of the options towards the end of the qualification. If you do want to specialize and work for a firm, so maybe you want to work within an accountancy practice, you might choose to do the advanced taxation and the advanced audit and assurance exam. But if, for example, you work within industry, maybe you work within a bank or a corporate sector, and you work within managerial accounting and reporting, you may choose to do the advanced performance management and advanced finance management options because they are more appropriate to your career and your career aspirations. Ultimately, the ACCA does enhance your employability. It enhances your career opportunities to provide employers with such a blended and broad spectrum of high-level skills. And I'll talk a little bit later about the ACCA Careers Portal. And in addition, if you want to, and I love this bit here, 2 world-renowned qualifications, you can simultaneously, there's a good word for you, attain the world-leading ACCA designation and an internationally recognized MSc. So you can get the masters from University of London. So you would leave the qualification with a professional qualification in chartered accountancy and a master's, which is fantastic. So just before I get stuck into the strategic business leader exam and go into more detail, I'll just see if there's anything popped up in the chat panel, and I'll do that now. Fantastic. Oh, wow. We've got some fantastic comments in. Hello, everyone. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. I can see people are in from Oman. Little shout out to the Higher College of Technology in Muscat. Thank you for joining. Good afternoon from Nizwa College of Technology. Fantastic to see you. Who else have we got in? Ibra College of Technology. Good vibes indeed. Thank you ever so much, guys. NCT. It's really good to see people joining in, and I've met many of you, which is really great to see. Sir, should enlighten us more about careers. Nayan, I will certainly go in and talk more about career opportunities, and I'll also talk a little bit more about exemptions towards the end of this. So, thank you for your chat in the comments. Keep them coming in, and I'll get stuck into the strategic business leader. But thank you for everybody. Why not? If you're online and you want to shout out, say hello, I'd love to see where else everyone else is from. Thank you. So, strategic business leader. Using an innovative case study, we'll demonstrate the right blend of technical, ethical, and professional skills in evaluating, synthesizing, and presenting of responses. No problem, Nayan. I will speak to you very soon. Thank you, Amol. It's great. I'm biased. This is my favorite exam. I teach this. I have taught this for as long as it's been alive. I even taught the predecessor before this, which was the corporate governance, risk and ethics, and a business analysis paper. And then the ACCA did a fantastic job of innovating and creating this brilliant case study. It's a big exam. It's not little. It's 4 hours long, which might sound daunting, but we'll talk about that in some detail. And I could talk about this exam for forever, so I'll be conscious of the time as well and make sure that I don't overrun just talking about SBL. But yes, it's a case study. If you want to, you can go onto our ACCA resources, go onto our ACCA resources website, study resources, and you'll be able to watch a video on the strategic business leader exam. It's just a short 7-minute video. Oh, I do apologize. I seem to have clicked on it. Hopefully it won't go through on that one. Bear with me 1 second. There we go. Right then. If we flick through to the next one, there we go. That's what I was trying to do. The joys of PowerPoint and live streaming. Hopefully you can still see my screen. I believe you can. And hopefully you can see the syllabus and skills areas of the strategic business leader exam. Fantastic. Right. Large syllabus. The largest, if not the largest syllabus of the ACCA qualification. And sometimes that's quite daunting. But what I really love about it is we can box it into little areas. So we've got a section within the qualification of the SBL syllabus, which is on leadership. So here you will learn and show your knowledge in terms of being able to demonstrate leadership skills in your exam, understand leadership theories and their application within a criteria of a case study. So you'll be looking at different managing directors, businesses. And what's fantastic about leadership is ultimately it's quite idiosyncratic. In other words, it has more than one meaning, and it's kind of indefinable to some extent. And here you'll learn the significant difference between managers who are brilliant and hopefully brilliant at helping you with a task, but leaders which ultimately are there to try and inspire for you to be actually sort of motivated to do the jobs you wish to do. And that's something that's really great about the qualification. We're pushing that element of leadership. We're trying to develop students who are future-proof and ready to be leaders. There's also a section on governance. And again, I did a webinar with a university, I believe last week or the week before, all on governance. And, many of you might think, oh, governance. It's fantastic because you learn all around the controls of a business. Governance ultimately is direction and control of organizations in the interest of all stakeholders and shareholders to make sure that the leadership of the business, the board, are actually controlling it in an appropriate way. So it make sure it's sustainable and make sure it's actually providing as much value as possible. You learn about strategy, and I think this is essential for any aspiring accountant to learn about the vision, the long-term vision of an organization and how to formulate strategy and come up with strategic options. You also learn about risk. Now, risk is an essential part of an accountant's job. You will be part of, in any role as an accountant, you form a basis of a risk manager, whether it is you're a financial controller or even as an auditor, or even, in the education industry like myself. We're all part of a larger risk management system, and it's important you understand how you fit into that. Up to the far left, technology and data analysis. Again, essential areas of the syllabus, learning about how to see and understand disruptive technology. And what a fantastic time to be alive. I mean, ultimately, we are living in an era now where disruptive technology is at such a pace that we are continuously seeing such disruption, even how we are delivering this. So normally, I would be delivering such a talk at a university, school or college, face to face, but through the power of technology and also through the power of disruption due to the pandemic, we're now delivering and reaching such a larger target audience, and we learn about this technology and data analysis throughout the qualification. But it's essential within the SPL exam because leaders ultimately need to look how to harness the technology and maybe ultimately talk about things like project management. Organizational control and audit, and I do realize I talked too long about SPL, so I'll try and keep moving. But organizational control and audit, how that is an essential function of any business, whether that's the need for internal controls, financial reporting audits. We've also got financial planning and decision making. So here within this area of the syllabus, you will talk about, analyzing financial statements, looking at net present values, investment criteria, payback, IRR, internal rate of return, all the wonderful stuff that you learn throughout your studies. In addition to innovation, performance excellence, and change management. So you can see these white blocks are the massive parts of the syllabus. And again, I could talk about each one of them for days. I mean, I have talked about each one of them for days. But then we've got the red blocks. Now, these are your professional skills. And what's unique about this exam is that the examiner and the markers are looking for you to demonstrate that you are able to communicate effectively. So the way that you present your answer is important. It wants to be presented in a managerial turn, in a higher strategic business leader thought process. You also wish to show commercial acumen, which again is something that needs to be pushed and developed within our members. So the ability to understand the broader business landscape, not just focusing on a narrow area. Analysis, to demonstrate analysis so that you can actually synthesize from the data you are given and make decisions from that analysis. Skepticism, so showing a questioning mind, so therefore you're able to challenge somebody within the role that you were given within the exam. And ultimately evaluation, whereby you're able to make a balanced, and that's important, a balanced argument or a balanced conclusion. So as you can see, it's a very big exam. A little bit more on the detail. Let me just click to the next slide. I just realized why it wouldn't do that. Again, it's got a significant amount of exhibits, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but it's a 4-hour exam, 240 minutes, 100 marks in totality, 80 of them for technical content and 20 for professional skills. Only a 50 pass mark, so it is very doable, is the phrase I'll use in my colloquialism. But yeah, you only need to score 50 to pass. There can be over 12 pages of a case study information. All questions are based on the same scenario, which I really like, because you will read the scenario whilst reading the requirements and be able to show the examiner that you are ingrained and using the case studies. Maybe where I'm going with this, you want to use that case study, you want to reference the people in the case study. That's extremely important and a very effective way of showing the marker who's marking your scripts that you actually have read and used the case study. The emphasis is on a combination of technical and professional skills. You see a correlation between those students who score well with the professional skills, and imagine you could get 20 professional skills in this exam. And you also see people score really well with the technical marks as well for the knowledge of application within the case study. Typical exam tasks range from, a data analysis of a spreadsheet. Now, I won't go into this in great detail, but you can see this is an exhibit that I've extracted from a specimen exam called Railco. Fantastic exam for anybody who's currently planning to study for September. If you're going to be doing SPL in September, make sure, any exam, that you're practicing, you're using the specimens, you're using the past papers, you're using the mocks that you are set. This is all around, you've been given an internal auditor role. So you're working you are an internal auditor. Fantastic. So you're giving a role in this exam, working closely with the board of directors. So you've got to produce something here, and the requirements saying analyze the information presented in the spreadsheet by the financial controller, questioning any assumptions that have been made and explain the implications of the finding. Now, I could spend a few hours just talking about this requirement alone, but hopefully you can see the type of sort of patterns here. You're given a task, you're given a role, and you've got to be able to present this. Now, here they've asked you to show skepticism, so that's your professional skill. So if you're trying to demonstrate skepticism, it would be not to just ultimately accept what's been given to you by the financial controller and question some of the assumptions, but in a respectful way. Typical exam requirements are data analysis of a spreadsheet, analyze the use of visual aids such as heat maps, flowcharts, process maps, problem identification and resolution. You want to make recommendations in this exam. You want to be able to show that you can draft reports, memos, letters, articles, or other written business communication, and draw up presentation slides with accompanying notes. Just a bit like how we do PowerPoints in the real world, or even any presentation in the real world. You want to be able to demonstrate that in your exam, and what a fantastic task that is. Prepare presentation slides with accompanying notes about the risk management of a business, and you would draw out the squares, put on the key points, and then write up your notes underneath. Typical exhibits can range, so these are the things that you would want to be analysing and reading through as you go through the exam. So there can be a website page, you're given a website page, newspaper reports are very typical, extracts of a survey or a competitor analysis, board minute meetings, job specs. I've seen an exam where you have to select the most appropriate candidate for a vacancy. What a fantastic requirement that was. As well as any data analysis, and the exhibits, you know, ultimately can be pretty much anything. So it's not just that list of exhibits, etc., etc. Students will be able to apply excellent leadership and ethical skills, and I won't read all these out, I'll just pick out the key parts. Evaluate the effectiveness of governance, so within the agency system, including organizations' social responsibility. Evaluate the strategic position, strategic position of a business, so where it fits in its environment, looking at its internal resources and how feasible different strategic options are to grow. You will analyze a risk profile, showing that you can understand risk management and look at the organization's culture as a result of the risk management procedures. Select and apply appropriate information technology and data analytics. You might be given a value chain, for example, to analyze or even produce a value chain. Evaluate managerial reporting and internal controls, as well as audit systems. Apply high-level financial techniques from the applied skills level. Now, this is a good point just to take a breath, because what's really fantastic about the strategic professional level, but also the strategic business leader exam, is it kind of overlaps with every exam that you've done previously. And what I love about this exam is it can ask you pretty much anything from a financial techniques perspective. And I've seen students who get to this stage, so they get all the way to the final level of the qualification, and they're like, oh, I forgot how to do, or what even a net present value calculation is. Or I forgot how to do simple ratios. And that's not something that I would really, expect from anybody at this level. If you are at the strategic professional level of a globally recognized chartered accountancy qualification, you should really be able to understand simple, or at least technical financial techniques. So you should be able to understand net present value, internal rate of return, look at investment appraisals and make decisions on criteria, do simple ratios to understand things like gearing or return on capital employed, because that's what you would expect of a senior business leader. Enable success through innovative thinking, and I've already talked about the best-in-class strategies for disruptive technologies, ensuring that you look at things like leading through projects, and apply professional skills which are addressed in each of the requirements of the Strategic Business Leader exam. So how does SBL differ from other ACCA exams? Well, yes, it's longer. It's a 4-hour exam, and the majority of the other exams are 3 hours and 15 minutes. But that's not really the big difference. The big difference is that it is workplace context entwined with professionalism, but technical knowledge and the application in a leadership context. You are looking at it from a leadership perspective. The roles you are given are often senior roles, reporting to the board, reporting to stakeholders, shareholders, and you want to be communicating in a professional manner and showing that you have that technical knowledge. So I think that leads us quite nicely onto strategic business reporting. Now, just looking at the time, we've got half an hour left, which is fantastic. I'll just see if anybody else has said hello, if we have any other live comments. So thank you very much for everyone who said hello already. Good afternoon. And I think there was a couple of questions that I could probably address as we go along. So I'll see if anything's popped up right now. I saw one or two. Right then, so one student asked earlier around the exemptions framework. So some students will do a degree with an accredited university, and if they do, they can find out if their degree program, hopefully your lecturers and your dean will be able to tell you this, but you'll be able to find it on our website. If you put in the name of the university and your year of graduation program, it will tell you if you have any exemptions. You can get up to 9 exemptions, and many students throughout the world are applicable for this. So they'll forego the applied skills and the applied knowledge because it's already a part of their degree, and then they'll only have to do the strategic professional level. Any other questions? Just drop them into the comments. Thank you very much, Nyan. Thank you for joining. Thank you very much, Oi. And I can see some. There we go. And if you want to check out your exemptions, just go onto there's a link there that's just been popped in by the team. Thank you ever so much. Thank you for your kind words, Hazim. And we will continue now with the joys of strategic business reporting. So another one of my favorite exams, strategic business reporting requires you to demonstrate your ability to make strategic business reporting related decisions. Set within a corporate reporting environment, you will be tested on concepts, theories, principles, and crucially, your ability to apply these and this knowledge to a real life scenario. So unlike a standard financial reporting exam where you may be asked to do, I don't know, prepare a set of financial statements, do a consolidation, calculate goodwill, this is now saying, right, we assume you can do that. So you're not going to get loads of marks for being able to do that. You might get a couple, but not a lot. What we really want you to do is think about it like a director. So you've been given a set of financial statements, or you've been given an extract from a set of financial statements, some supporting information. Now think about this in the broader context. Think about it from a strategic perspective. How can we apply these international accounting standards and also ethics, and what will happen to our performance as a business if we do apply different accounting standards and how we apply them? There's a huge syllabus here, but maybe not as big as SBL, but still a significant syllabus, ranging from financial, ethical, and professional principles, financial reporting, performance ranges, so financial performance, financial statements of groups, interpreting financial statements for different stakeholders, and the impact in the changing accounting regulations, so the differences in international accounting standards. I love the way that this diagram has arrows backwards and forwards. It shows that there's an interaction between different frameworks and changes, performance and changes, financial statements of groups and changes, as well as interpreting financial statements for different stakeholders. What's great as well is here's a nice diagram about the syllabus overlap, because strategic business reporting is one of your essentials. So you have to do this exam, but it would be beneficial for you to have retained some knowledge from financial accounting, financial reporting, but then also when you do the strategic business reporting exam, it sets you up really well for the advanced audit and assurance exam if you choose to select this as one of your options. The reason that this arrow is pointing away from strategic business reporting is to emphasize that ultimately you should not really do your AAA exam unless you have already studied for your SBR exam. Because fundamentally, if you choose advanced audit and assurance, you will be looking at the ways in which you would audit the international accounting standards that you have learned in SBR. 3 hours, 15 minutes exam, 100 marks, including only 4 professional marks, 50 marks to pass. The scenarios and informations which are in there around 6 pages, 2 sections within this exam, but all 4 questions are compulsory. And the emphasis is on applying knowledge, skills, and professional judgment. Section A normally has a 30-mark question with computations, so worth around 6 to 8 marks. There will probably be some form of groups within there, so financial statements of group entities, financial reporting performance, so you've got to report on the performance of a business, as well as another question which is 20 marks, and within that, there'll be a section on ethics. So a large question in section A, 30, then a 20-mark question as well. Section B has 2 25 marks, so there'll be some calculations and discussion. Important to realize that also there will be non-financial appraisals. So you may need to have a good understanding of non-financial appraisals, such as the balanced scorecard, for example. Perspectives of the actual preparers of different stakeholders. So when you are preparing the financial statements, or you've been given an extract to prepare, you also want to look at it from the viewpoint of different stakeholders. So not just the shareholders. What about other stakeholders like your employees? Typical extracts here, so a typical sort of explanatory note for a board of directors. And this question, as you can see, is broken down into 3 short sections. So you get 7 marks for the first part, 5 marks for the next, and 4 marks for the last part. You could go into, again, I could spend hours talking about this typical requirement itself, but I'll move forward. Depending on the scenario and the requirement, you may also be asked to identify incorrect accounting treatment and explain the correct treatment, referencing to the relevant standards, identification of relevant ethical principles and explanation of why these have been breached, identification of relevant party transactions or related party transactions even, suggest actions to address any incorrect accounting treatment, any breaches in ethical principles, and disclosure to any relevant party or related party transaction. Explanation of impact, and important, this nice little red block at the bottom, no repetition is required. So that leads me fantastically to the remainder of the strategic professional level. And again, you will have to do strategic business leader, you will have to do strategic business reporting, but you get the flexibility at the end to choose which options you want. Now, naturally, I'll just pause here to see if there's been any more comments pop in. So I'll just jump in. Fantastic. I can see some questions coming in as well. One about exemptions, one about the Chartered Accountancy Qualification in India. Good afternoon, Doctor. Thank you for joining, Dr. Lenin Kumar. Thank you, sir. And I will carry on and I'll address these questions towards the end. So I'll save some time for those. So as I say, strategic professional options. Our option exams offer a unique opportunity to specialize in areas of greater relevance to a chosen sector or career path. The advanced specialist expertise builds on a broad, cross-section, relevant technical foundation of all ACCA students. So if you wish to, specialize in tax, then yeah, fantastic. Advanced taxation's for you. If you wish to specialize or work in audit, advanced audit. You've also got advanced financial management and advanced performance management. So what's the advanced financial management exam about? You'll be able to understand from a very senior perspective different financial executives and advisors' viewpoints and how they may conflict between stakeholders, recognizing the role of international financial institutions in the financial management of multinational organizations. You'll be able to evaluate investment decisions, so taking your financial management knowledge from prior studies, but now to a higher level, and demonstrate this for both within a strategic sort of consequential understanding. Assess and explain acquisitions, mergers, and alternative growth strategies, which are essential for most businesses, particularly in today's world, where many businesses will be doing acquisitions, mergers, growth in organizations is really needed right now. You want to evaluate and advise an alternative corporate reorganization strategy. So looking how businesses can actually reorganize the business, whether that's through the people, so human resources, or through its supply chain, through its structure within different organizations and countries. So really taking a high level there and apply and evaluate alternative advanced treasury and risk management techniques. The advanced performance management exam, well, some of the highlights here. So use strategic planning and control models to plan and monitor organizational performance. Assess and identify key external influences on organizational performance. Identify and evaluate and design features of effective performance management information and monitoring systems. Apply appropriate strategic performance measurement techniques in evaluating and improving organization performance. And lastly, advise clients and senior managers on strategic business performance. Now, I think this is a great exam for anybody who works or wants to work within a sort of managerial accounting position. You understand a great high level of internal controls, risk management, control procedures, budgets, strategic planning. So anybody who's wishing to work or does work in managerial accounting, this could be the option for you. Advanced taxation here is actually an exam which has many different variants, so wherever you are in the world, but I've just took a broad approach here. So you can select an appropriate variant on our website, but the advanced taxation builds on the knowledge of your prior learning. So whether that's the taxation exam or you've done that through the exemptions route at university, and it takes you from a perspective as a tax advisor, tax planning. So you will be able to apply further knowledge and understanding of tax systems through your studies, but more advanced tax topics. I remember studying and doing a little bit of work on advanced taxation when I was a tutor, and it's a fantastic exam for anybody who wants to work in the realm of taxation. Particularly interesting in the Middle East, given the sort of progression of VAT around the region, but also, you know, the need for tax planners. It's a fantastic exam for anybody who wants to learn more about taxation systems. You will be able to identify and evaluate the impact of relevant taxes on various situations, and then the appropriate course of action, including the interactions of taxes, for example, capital gains, inheritance tax, corporation taxes, indirect taxes such as VAT. Provide advice on minimizing or deferring tax liabilities by the use of standard tax planning measures, and communicate with clients, for example, in the UK, HMRC, so HM Revenue and Customs, and other professionals in an appropriate manner. Then we've got advanced audit and assurance. Now this exam, and this page actually is over 2, so I'll continue as we go along, but is a fantastic exam for anybody who works in an audit firm or wants to work in an audit firm, because you will learn about the legal and regulatory frameworks and environments of audit and assurance practices, demonstrate the ability to work effectively on assurance or other service engagements within a professional and ethical framework. You want to assess and recommend appropriate quality controls, ensuring that you understand the necessity of professional appointments. And here, you'll be working on different international standards of auditing. You will also need to be aware that you will be questioned and learn about non-audit assignments. So it might be, for example, an assurance engagement for a sustainability audit. So it's not just pure financial audits. You evaluate the findings and results, work performed, and draft suitable reports. Identify and formulate the work required to meet objectives of non-audit assignments. And lastly, understand the current issues, which is a fantastic way of ensuring that businesses and those who are studying this exam are really up to date with current affairs and the developments relating to the provision of audit-related and assurance services. So just a nice overview slide here. Essentials: strategic business leader and strategic business reporting. You have to do both of those exams. Strategic business leader is a 4-hour integrated case study exam where you have a very broad syllabus ranging from leadership all the way to risk management, inclusive of innovation, technology, and governance. It's a very large syllabus, great exam, and truly a leadership developing exam. And then we've got the strategic business reporting exam, again, a high-level exam, looking at it from the mindset of a director or a senior manager, where you are taking different business transactions, different international accounting standards and ethics, and making judgments as a result. Then we have the options, and again, you only have to select 2 of these. So advanced financial management, advanced performance management, advanced taxation, and advanced audit and assurance. So I know I've got plenty of time left, so I'm pretty happy with how things are going so far. I'll just see if anything else has come through. So I can see some really good feedback. Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Doctor. Hello, everyone from Nizwa College of Technology. Brilliant to see you all online, and thank you for joining. Great stuff about the, yes, we can see people obviously enjoy the exemptions calculator. It's a really good resource, so you can check that out in your own time. Somebody's asking about which year in relation to the exemption. So you select your year of graduation. We often accredit programs on a sort of 4 to 5 year rolling basis. So if you have an accredited program, we do a continuous review. We have a team within the UK who continuously regularly review to ensure that they're up to a very high standard of actual. We're not just awarding the exemptions, we're awarding them to very good universities, really good programs. So thank you for asking around that. For anybody who is wishing to study ACCA, and it is a little bit different to university. In fact, it's very different to university. So with university, you know, you go through a program of study, you will attend the university. With a professional qualification, it's very much up to you how you want to study. But for every student, there is a host of free available resources, freely available resources on the Study Support Resources website. And as a tutor and as an ACCA member, and also as a student when myself, these are brilliant because here you've got such a broad spectrum. I don't want my voice to come out, but you've got such a broad spectrum of resources from each exam. So you can do practice exams in there. You've got examiners' articles. You've got syllabus guides. You've got fantastic resources written by the examining team, the people who make the exams, telling you what to study, which I think is fantastic. And they complement, different things from downloaded. This is just about SBL, to be honest with you, but specimen exams, examiners reports. There's lovely little videos in there you can watch, and you can get them on our website. Here we are, the approach, examiners approach articles. Technical articles are fantastic for those students who are studying now. Make sure you read those. There's such an array of technical articles. It helps to prepare you for the exam and look at things through the perspective of the examiner. But, and this is a fantastic, available sort of help for anybody, you can also choose to study with an approved learning partner. This is a program which formally recognizes leading learning institutions around the world. And we've got some world-class learning partners in the Middle East. And to be honest with you, all around. I know many of you have logged on from India. We've got some fantastic learning partners there. But particularly in the Middle East, the learning partners are absolutely wonderful. I used to work for Kaplan, which is a global learning partner. And the relationship we have there is fantastic. We are, or they are designed, should I say, to help you on your ACCA studies and journey. So this is a bit like going to a college. In fact, it's very much like going to a college, but they have such a diverse product portfolio. So you could study in classroom, you could study online, you could study at your own pace with a digital platform, you could buy the books from them, but you must ensure that you do go to an approved learning partner because these guys are the experts in the field. So this is where you would get some help, and it is significantly positively correlated that students who study with an approved learning partner pass their exams more often on a first-time basis and also score higher and are less likely to fail. We also have the Virtual Learning Centre, providing support and help with things like English, maths, and in addition to other ACCA exams. So this has recently been innovated and sort of updated. The Virtual Learning Centre is a fantastic online resource. For those who English is an additional language, or for those who need a little bit of help with mathematics, you can do these listening and reading tests or self-check tests, which are interactive learning. But then the grey box, which is just cut off slightly, getting ready for your next ACCA exam, is amazing for those students who have exemptions. So many students will get to the strategic professional level and then say, oh, I didn't necessarily study that particular exam. I did it through virtue of my university degree. So to scrub up, one for a better term, you can go onto the Virtual Learning Centre, and any student can do this. You just register and you can select the exams that feed into the strategic professional level. So for example, audit and assurance or financial reporting, or even, financial management, and do some self-check quizzes, some knowledge checks, to ensure that you do have a good understanding before you get stuck into that particular high-level exam. Now, before I move into the professional insights, I'll just check and see if there's anything. I'm conscious of time. We've got about 13 minutes left, which is brilliant. I'll just see if there's any questions I can help students with or people with who have logged in. Not to worry. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, great question. If anybody's looking on the exemptions calculator and wondering why you're not on there, you can get in touch with the Middle East education team. I'll provide our details, but you can also get in touch directly with the UK team, who'll be able to get back to you and actually let you know whether you have any exemptions from that university. And if you are an institution and you're on the session now, and you want to get in touch about getting your program accredited, please get in touch with us and we can talk about that, because that's part of our role as the education team. So another way that we, as a professional body, support students and members and show leadership and thought leadership, more importantly, is through our professional insights, answering today's questions, preparing us for tomorrow. And I really like that phrase there, because it really does add a lot of value. You can download the ACCA accounting app. We've got two different apps. We've got the student accounting app. Make sure you get that if you are going to be a student, but also the ACCA accounting and business app. It's a free resource, and you'll be able to log in and look at our professional insights website as well. Here we have world-class research from our members' bodies and from a team of researchers who then talk about all sorts of things. So we've got ones that are relevant to you as students, professional accountants, the future. We've also got things about the global economic impact of COVID-19, which I find extremely important to stay on top of. Supporting the global professional, we've got integrated reporting success stories. Professional Accounts of the Future, Accountant, the Purpose and Sustainable Organization, a great report if you've not read that one. We do fantastic work with this. Again, a little bit on COVID-19, a global survey, global economic conditions for Q1 of 2020, supporting the professionals, professional insights reporting, as well as supporting the professionals through maximizing the benefits of accruals. Global economies, professional insights reports, explaining artificial intelligence, which I found extremely valuable to actually read, and I thought it was fascinating. And then economic crime in a digital age. But this is where I'm going to spend just a minute or two talking about your careers, aspiring accountants, those who are on your ACCA journey or wishing to perform an ACCA or go through your ACCA, a little bit about what your career would look like over the next sort of 10 years. Now, I won't spend forever talking about this because I appreciate, again, I can go on, but this is a fantastic report for any students who are wondering what does the future look like for accountants. There's been a decade of opportunity. There's been significant drivers for change. Sustainability is imperative, and we've seen this, pre-COVID-19 and even during and through the crisis, how sustainable businesses really do actually prosper. And the re-imaging of the profession for the future. And again, that's complemented by our reports on things like artificial intelligence, robotic automation processing. And one of the great fears that I've had, and when I go to different universities around the region and I speak to different stakeholders, well, we're going to be replaced by robots. And what I absolutely love about this report is ultimately we're not. We are going to be so much more valuable. In fact, we are so valuable as accountants to all businesses. Again, we speak the global language of business. And these are the 20 trends which are shaping the accountancy industry. And I'll just pick a couple. So we've got, the meaning of work all the way down to the digital recruitment age, which has been extremely important. I've been working with businesses that are still continuing to recruit, even through social distancing, doing it online just like this. So performing an interview just through the other end of a laptop. You can rent a chief financial officer, the need for continuous learning, and also maybe, inclusivity and how that actually adds a lot of value. We've seen, huge movements of recent about diversity and the importance of diversity. And what's fantastic about the ACCA, because it is truly global, we have such a representative professional membership body that we push inclusivity and the agenda through all organizations. The careers in the 2020s, well, this is a nice sort of diagram here on I believe it'll be on the right-hand side or left-hand side, the lovely arrows, where they show ultimately the professional accountant will maneuver between different areas. My father and his father always talked, about a job for life. Well, that's not the case anymore. Younger people coming into the profession, as well as anybody looking to move within sort of the career path now, wants a varied, engaging, sustainable career, which actually enlightens them and they can learn multiple things. And that's fantastic about the ACCA qualification because it's very broad. It's not just one narrow area of accounting. It's all areas of business. It's a leadership qualification. We talked about the 5 career zones ranging from the assurance advocate all the way through to the sustainability trailblazer. And you can find more detail of these on our website. So I won't go into grave detail because I'm conscious of time here. What does this mean for our career? Well, there's 10 things here, but ultimately it means you are so valuable. You want to get tech, take risks, relearn, rethink your CV, find a sponsors, do what you love. And I'm a big advocate for people who want to do what they love, because ultimately when you feel like you enjoy what you do for work, which might seem like a luxury, well, I can tell you firsthand, if you love what you do, it doesn't feel like a job. So what does this mean for people who are looking for work or the employers who are looking for candidates? Well, actually, we are quite picky as a generation. We don't just want to work for a business which churns out profits. We want to work for a business which has a clear purpose and we want to be communicated to. Our career paths are often varied now. So, we might start from, example, I started with a professional services firm, moved into education and have continued through that route. But people now like a varied career path. We want to do internal collaborations with different parts of organizations. We want to support and be supported and through learning. So if your employer wants to promote you, you might wish to do the ACCA qualification to structure that learning and help add value to you. In addition, we can harness the power of different generations in the workplace. It's fantastic to see that we do have such a, not only a culturally diverse workplace, but we also have an age generational split in most organizations where people have such a wealth of experience and knowledge and have different ways of approaching things. The position of technology really does create an opportunity through globalization, and we can leverage the power of inclusivity. The ACCA qualification truly is a global passport. There are, a pathway of the 3 E's: experience, ethics, and the professional sort of exams. Your eligibility, well, many of you can actually join the ACCA qualification with as little as 3 GCSEs or 2 A levels. But don't worry if you don't want to just jump straight in at the strategic professional, at the professional qualification level. You can start with the diplomas if you wish to continue and build on your foundation of knowledge. The ethics and professional skills module is an interactive online module. It really does help students pass the strategic professional level, but also makes you more employable. You will need to do 36 months in a relevant role, but that's such a varied sort of role. We understand now, as you can see, that you don't just necessarily stick with one job for the rest of your life. You may choose to do different things. So yes, you can work in audit, you can work in accounting, you can work in taxation, you can work in insolvency, business recovery services, and the list goes on. We work with global leading organizations to recognize them as approved employers. You can probably recognize many of the household names on this lovely page now. So ranging from, Halliburton, Saudi Aramco, Credit Agricole, BA Systems, Orange, all businesses and so many more work with us as approved employers because we recognize them as having fantastic development for their students, and they recognize their ACCA members as well. If you are looking for work, you can use the ACCA Careers Portal. It's the world's largest leading job board for professional accountants and finance professionals. Ultimately, you will need to do the 3 ethics exams, So there's 13 exams, but at the strategic professional level, which is what we're talking about now, there's 2 essentials and then 4 options. You only do 2 of them, so it could just be as little as 4 exams. You need to do the ethics and professional skills module, and you need to actually provide your experience, for practical experience requirements of 36 months. In summary, the ACCA qualification creates leaders. We are sustainable. We speak the global language of business. And we very much are more than numbers. And that's probably where I'd like to sort of close the remarks there. We've got about 5 minutes for questions. I'll see if anything else has popped in there. If you are looking to register, you can just go on to the accaglobal.com and /apply now. If you are looking to get in touch, well, here are our contact details: educationme@ACCA Global. And why not go on to our content hub, www.accame.me. I'll leave that slide up now and I'll jump into the comments section if we've got anything. Amazing. So yeah, we've got time for questions. If you do have any questions, please just fire them in. We can even overrun a little bit if you're willing to stay online. I know that I'm always willing to sort of help anybody, but do get in touch if you need any help. Thank you very much for those who've engaged as we've gone along. I found it really enjoyable, and hopefully you have too. I can see many people are joining us from all around the world, which is fantastic to say that. We've got an audience here ranging from India, the UK, Oman, all around the Middle East. Thank you ever so much for getting involved. Jazeera, great question. I wonder if we can pop that one up on screen. Difference between ACCA and ACA. Jazeera, so you're talking now about comparing, 2 different world-class qualifications. I've had the privilege of having my ACCA membership now for coming up to 5 years. But I also had the privilege of working with ICAW when I was a student and also when I was back in the UK working for Kaplan. And they are 2 fantastic qualifications and they are really world renowned. Now, what I will say is the key difference is around the flexibility of the ACCA qualification that ICAW does not necessarily have. The ICAW qualification, you have a strict sort of progress through the 3 different levels and you have no option papers. Whereas with ACCA, we are, there to try and be as inclusive as possible. So we understand that people necessarily might not go down an audit route, which is traditionally what ACA does. We understand that there is a need for people who want to learn more about financial performance, financial management, advanced performance management, and that option. So that's the key difference. It's about that accessibility one and also the flexibility there. So thank you, Jazeera. I'm just having a look for any other questions. Nayan, sir, I am doing my chartered accountancy from India along with ACCA. I'm currently doing my chartered accountancy articleship training. Yes, fantastic. Whether articleship completes with the consideration of completion as per of ACCA. Nayan, do forgive me. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking there, my friend. I'll see. I know that you've popped it up a few times. What I will say, Nayan, is we're just coming up to the end. So rather than me trying to deconfigure that question, why don't you ping us an email at educationme@ACCA Global, and we'll be able to take that one offline. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Thank you. I can see some fantastic things coming in. So again, if you are looking for any support, please do get in touch. I can see that we've got lots of interaction. So again, thank you for everyone who joined. And I see some new comments coming in. Brilliant. There we go. Ibrahim, one last question. Please compare the USA CPA qualification. Why not? So the the CPA qualification, again, fantastic global qualification. Really, does prepare you very well for the world of audit. It's only 4 exams, and it might seem attractive because there's only 4 exams, but you only have a short amount of time to do them in. So you only have 18 months. And you also need a bachelor's degree to get into the CPA, to even be considered for CPA. So the entry requirements are quite stringent, and also it's a quite short time frame. Whereas with ACCA, obviously, we are an inclusive qualification. You don't need a degree to get on. We work in an incremental, there's a few more exams, a few more levels, and also you can specialize, and there's the flexibility that I talked about already. So thank you, Ibrahim. Right then. Right. Well, I think that's time. If you do have any more questions, which I can see a couple popping in, please just get in touch directly, and I'll be happy to help any student who needs, technical questions around different things like different specific sections for exams. I can see Nayan's popping in there, so brilliant. I'll address that offline. Or if you need any help, with direction of finding learning partners or even study support resources, you want to check out our content hub as well to keep up to date with the latest things that are going on with the ACCA in the Middle East. We have some fantastic webinars planned for over the summer. So do stay in touch. Reach out if you need anything. Thank you ever so much for everyone who joined. And hopefully, I look forward to seeing you on one of these again very shortly. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.